I hope you're enjoying the Freelance Quick-Start guide so far. We've covered a lot of information and we're going to keep going. In this video, we're going to talk about sales. And this is a little tricky. Some people are really confident in sales, but then they kind of find out what goes into it and they realize, okay, I've got a little bit to learn before I can actually close a deal and get somebody on the hook. A lot of people think if somebody says, hey, I'd like to work with you, sell done, it was that easy. But it's not that easy because there's a difference between somebody saying, I want to work with you, and somebody actually signing a contract that says, I'm going to pay you, you're going to do this, and I'm going to pay you, and we're going to have a relationship, right? So number one, I want to point out, and you can see this graphic here, there are a lot of ways to find leads and get people over to you that you can sell. So I don't ever want you to have that feeling that there aren't clients, because there are clients. They're everywhere. You can get them through your lead magnets like we talked about in the last lesson. You can get them through your network, community groups, volunteering, and then converting those volunteer efforts into paid clients, previous clients that you've worked with maybe through your employer, or old jobs that you used to work with and you put in a 2-week notice, but they'd still have a lot of value for you to come back. Subcontracting with other freelancers or consultancies who are doing this type of work. LinkedIn post, podcast. Podcast really means guesting, right? You could write guest blogs. You could guest on people's shows. You could go on a podcast as a guest. You could write a newsletter. There are a lot of different things you can do as a media outlet. So there are just a ton of different ways to get clients. So I wanted to highlight that and make sure you feel comfortable with that. Other things are kind of closing the deal. You get that person through your marketing efforts. They're interested one way or another. You got in touch with them and now they're really interested in working with you. So how do you move through that process? And so there's a lot that goes into it, but ultimately you need to understand what their business needs. And you can do this by sending over a questionnaire about their business. You could have a form on your website that asks them about your business. But ultimately, once you have a baseline of info about them, you're going to hop on a call and you're going to talk to them about, hey, what are your needs? What are you expecting or hoping to get out of this engagement with me? What are you hoping that I can deliver? And then you can start to gather those requirements and understand their needs. And ultimately, you're going to need to put that into a proposal. And here's an example of what a proposal can look like. And these are, inside our program, we have over 20 downloadable templates that you can use. They're always ready to use and you can use them at any moment. This is one of 5 proposals that we have at your fingertips. And you just click here and you can hop in and look at the actual proposal. You can watch a video about how to use the proposals and exactly how to fill them out. But this is what a proposal looks like, and this is what a client is expecting. They want to see, what is this going to cost? What's going to be involved? What is that high-level statement of work that you're saying you're going to complete? Show me how much I'm going to pay, and then I will sign off on this, right? So once you have clarity around what their needs are, and they have clarity around the fact that you can deliver and you're credible to deliver, it's much easier to put a proposal like this in front of someone and actually get them to sign it. Now, just because you get someone to sign a proposal doesn't mean it's over. And so in this, I want to talk a little bit about project delivery, right? We need to have, again, I'm going to go back to the templates. We've got these for you, but what you need to keep in mind are you're going to need to gather requirements. Some of those are going to come from the questionnaire. Some of those are going to come from the statement of work that they just signed. But a lot of them are going to come from what we call a business process requirement gathering session. And that's where you sit down for a few hours, a couple of hours at least with the client, and you make sure the right people are on the call. You do that through the questionnaire. And you make sure you know who are the subject matter experts, who are the people involved in this project, who really needs to sit down on the call and tell me what their requirements are. You talk through that. The client talks through it internally a little bit. As they talk to you, you start to understand what's going on with the business and what their needs are. And then you put that into what we call a requirement and design overview. This lists all of the requirements. It also lists all of the solutions that are going to solve those requirements and makes it so that the client can easily see you understand my requirements and you have a good solution for those requirements. Now go build, right? You take them through, you build it, you demo it to them, you train them, you show them how everything works, you keep them updated with templates like status reports on a weekly basis. So we walk you through all of that in the program, but ultimately I want you to watch this video and go, okay, I'm kind of getting it. It's a lot, but I get it. It's more than just they want to work with me. There's a process involved. I need to lead them forward. They're not wanting to work with me so they can tell me what to do and I go check it off. They want to work with me because I guide them through this process. I guide them through the sale. I understand their needs. I gather their requirements. I document solutions for those requirements. I implement those solutions into whatever tool it is that I'm using, right? If it's Salesforce, you're building that into the Salesforce platform. If it's HubSpot, the HubSpot platform. ServiceNow platform. Whatever your service is, you're building it onto the platform for them, right? And so then you build that out, but you keep them up to date with status reports. You put together things like project plans and time tracking, and you're transparent with how much you're working and how the project's going, and is it on time, and is it in the hours allotted for the project, or is it going over? Is it coming under? How are we going to adjust to that? Those are the things you're expected to do. You get them trained, you help them get off the ground, make sure they're good to go. And then what I recommend, this is the holy mecca of freelancing, you get them locked into a managed services agreement. This is a long-term agreement that allows them to, instead of doing, say, a 100-hour project, it allows them to do, say, 10 hours a week for 12 months. Now, this gets you locked in for 40 hours a month, and that ends up being 480 hours a year, right? Just as an example. If you can lock someone in at 10 hours a week for $100 an hour, you're going to make about $50,000 a year off of a simple contract like that. And that is what we're aiming for when we're freelancing. We don't want a bunch of small projects where you have to always hunt for the next sale. We want to get I'd say 3 to 5 clients that we really like on managed services agreements that are at somewhere between, say, 5 and 10 hours a week. And we manage those, we work those, we can work part-time, we can work full-time, but odds are we're going to make over $200,000 a year with a rate at about $100 an hour. So you can adjust for the rate you think you can charge or what you've seen, and that'll give you an expectation for what you can make. Here's a quick breakdown of a survey that I did showcasing what people in I'll say my LinkedIn connections and network are charging. So these are freelancers and the rates that they're charging. So if you don't really know how much you can make, this should give you a ballpark idea of what you can expect as a tech professional working remotely for clients. So I hope that's helpful in giving you that idea of what can I expect from a sales and project delivery standpoint. And that really kind of wraps this up. I know it was kind of quick, but it's also a lot. You've got your business structures, you've got your marketing, you've got your sales and project delivery to consider. And then ultimately you have to consider, do I want to do freelancing on the side? And are the benefits outweighing the effort, right? And the benefits to me are you're going to get paid more than you do at a normal job. You can do it on the side or you can do it full time. You can work part time and not have a full time job like I did and just do 15 to 25 hours a week. And as long as that pays your bills, then you can live that lifestyle, right? And I enjoy that lifestyle. Other people that I've worked with prefer to work 50, 60 hours a week. They've started their own consulting firms and they're going out and hiring their own employees and doing their own thing, right? And they don't mind and they want to build that business and that legacy and they want to go bigger. So really, it's a pick your poison. You can do it the way you want to do it. Ultimately, the question is, do you want to do it?